Three insane teens no one expected to be real murderers. Having a stressful life is very common in today's world, but if the life of a child is stressful, this can lead to several changes in the child, turning him into an insane individual. In today's video, we are going to see three insane teens no one expected to be real murderers. Elisa Butmonte, a teenager who was confronted when she killed her neighbor, had a childhood full of tragedy. She has been subject to several mistreatments at a young age, resulting in her being diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder. At the same time, the doctor stated that she is predisposed to getting violent and is easily angered, which further motivates her violent outbursts. One of her life's tragedies was that she was the result of a teenage pregnancy because her mother gave birth when she was only 15 years old. Elisa was an unwanted child by her parents, but her grandparents were excited to have a baby grandchild. Her father was a criminal who served in jail for several years. On October 21, 2009, Elisa's younger sister went to her friend Elizabeth Oatland's home to ask her to play with her. But the mother of Elizabeth denied, saying that dinner was getting ready, but Elisa's younger sister managed to convince Elizabeth's mom. Elizabeth's mother instructed her to return home by 6 p.m., but she had no idea that she would never return at all. After playing with Emma, Elizabeth left for her home, which was 4 houses down the street after the woods. When Elizabeth didn't reach home, her mother contacted the police for help. The police started interrogating people who had seen her last. Emma told the police that she saw bloodstains on Elisa's clothes.
And I helped her out. And she asked me why I was bleeding. Because, I found out on my period. They're like, yeah, don't tell anyone that.
While searching her room, investigators found further proof that Elisa had murdered Elizabeth. They booked Elisa for interrogation, where her grandmother accompanied her, thinking that she was innocent. In her statement, Elisa said that she was at home when Elizabeth went missing out of nowhere, and she went to help Emma after hearing her yelling because of the incident that happened by her car. She stated that she told Emma that the bloodstains on her pants were there because she was on her period. She had a non-natural physical movement while answering the interrogative questions. She nodded her head while answering, like she was trying to make herself comfortable with the answers, like they were not true, which raised the officer's suspicions. After Elisa's statement, there were 2 things clear. Elisa met Elizabeth on the day she went missing, and she went to the woods, where the victim's cell phone was found. After being interrogated for an hour straight, she agreed to tell the truth to the investigators due to the pressure that they were putting on her. She murdered Elizabeth over the conflicts they had, and her grandmother couldn't believe that the child she raised turned into a monster.
Grandma. Oh my God.
Can you believe that young people are capable of committing such acts of violence? To never miss out on the information about such cases, subscribe to our channel and leave a like to keep us motivated. Zachary Latham's case is a tragic instance of how mental sickness can lead to violence and devastating consequences. In August 2018, Latham, then 18 years old, stabbed his mother, Krista DeStasio, to death in her home in Mariso County, New Jersey. The assault was reportedly unprovoked, and Latham had no prior criminal record. Latham has a record of mental illnesses which include diagnoses of depression, anxiety, and ADHD. He had been hospitalized for psychiatric remedy in various instances in the years leading up to the murder. Despite this, he used to be capable of legally buying a knife from a store just days earlier than the attack. Following his arrest, Latham used to be charged with domestic and weapons charges. However, his legal defense managed to convince the jury that he wasn't criminally accountable for his actions due to his mental illnesses. They showed documentation proving his long-standing mental issues, including the testimonies of his family and psychiatrists which had dealt with him before. The case went to trial in 2021, and the jury subsequently determined that Latham was responsible for the murder. However, they also discovered that he is no longer criminally accountable for his actions due to his mental illnesses. As a result of this revelation, Latham is not going to be going to prison, but instead to a mental hospital where he's going to receive psychiatric help for the next couple of years. The case has sparked debate about the validity of mental sickness in these crimes and the further debates on whether or not the justice system is broken. Some have argued that Latham's case highlights the want for higher levels of mental health support specifically for younger people. Others have raised concerns about the ease with which people with mental illnesses can acquire such lethal weapons in the first place. Regardless of one's views on the case, it serves as a tragic reminder of the significance of addressing mental health problems and presenting a guide to those who are struggling with their own minds. While Latham's actions were obviously horrific, it is clear that he was not in a right state of mind at the time of the attack. By offering better help to people with mental illnesses, we can make sure that these tragedies will never occur again, by stopping them before they happen in the first place. The case of Homicides, a young boy from India who was convicted of murdering 3 children at the age of 8, is a surprising and tragic instance of intense violence done by the hands of a child. The case has garnered worldwide interest and raised many necessary questions about the reasons for such actions and what role society played in them. Homicides was born in 1998 in the city of Mushahari in the Indian country of Bihar. He grew up in a terrible household with 7 siblings and used to be frequently left on his own to roam the streets. In 2006, when Homicides was just 8 years old, he was accused of murdering his 6-year-old cousin, his 6-month-old sister, and a neighbor's 8-month-old daughter. The children had been found with their throats slit, and Homicides was found near the scene of the crimes. After confessing to the murders, Homicides was arrested and held in custody. Despite his young age, he was tried and convicted of crimes in a juvenile court. The court observed that he had acted with premeditation and sentenced him to 3 years in a juvenile detention center, the maximum possible punishment allowed beneath Indian regulations for a child under the age of 14. The case of Homicides is truly tragic due to the fact that it raises questions about what ought to pressure such a young child to commit such violent acts. There are many theories about what caused Homicides to commit such violent acts, going from genetic factors to public violence in the media and trauma or abuse. In Homicides' case, it is hard to decide precisely what elements may also have contributed to his behavior, as there had been few sources accessible to inspect his history and circumstances. Some professionals have cautioned that Homicides might also be suffering from mental illnesses such as schizophrenia or dissociative identity disorder. Others have pointed out to the excessive degrees of poverty and the place where he grew up, which ought to have contributed to his lack of empathy and violent tendencies. Still, others have argued that Homicides may also have been an anomaly, a fatally violent child whose actions are unexplainable. Whatever the reason for Homicides' behavior, his case has brought a lot of attention to mental illnesses and preventative measures when it comes to adolescents. Many advocate for better assistance when it comes to mental illnesses in children, as well as increased funding and training and help for households dwelling in poverty. And that brings us to the ending of today's video. Tell us which case horrified you the most. Do leave a like and subscribe to our channel, Just Scary, and do remember to hit the bell icon to stay updated with such further interesting cases. I will see you in the next video.